Thank you to the Mazan Verona Kinsman School Board for allowing me to speak at your meeting tonight. It means a lot that you're allowing me to do this. This evening, I was asked to talk about the physical characteristics of middle school students. Before I go into my presentation, I would like to do a quick introduction about myself. First, I am currently an agriculture education master's student at Illinois State University. I just finished my first year of my master's program, and my goal is to graduate in May of 2018. I'm also receiving a certificate in STEM education and leadership. Last spring, I graduated again from Illinois State University with my Bachelor's of Science degree in agriculture education. I am a professional educated licensed teacher in the state of Illinois for grades 9 through 12, and I actually graduated from the university cum laude. Some of my aspirations in life is to pursue a career in agriculture or education policy. Before Illinois State University, I attended Joliet Junior College, where I graduated in 2014. Before I attended JJC, I was a graduate of Seneca Township High School, where I was very active in class government as well as the FFA organization. And before I attended Seneca High School, I graduated from Zahn Verona Kinsman, class of 2008, and I was actually the commencement speaker for the class of 2016. I'm very passionate about local food insecurities, and I'm always concerned about the changes in local school policies. Before I go into the actual presentation, I would like to give you an overview of what I'll be talking about. So there's actually two different growth stages, and stage one is infancy and early childhood, so that's between ages birth to 8 years old, and then there's stage two, which is the middle childhood and early adolescence stage, and that ranges from years 9 through 18. And I'll be focusing more on the second stage of the growth. This focuses a lot on the physical change that the child is going through, and it also is the time when students begin puberty, and there's just a lot of different changes that are happening to that student in a very short amount of time. There are many different development concerns, but I'm going to talk about four of them today. One being growth and development, two, sexual maturation, three, perception of physical self, and four, at-risk behaviors. And you may think to yourself, how can your school help students during these vulnerable moments in their lives? So I'm going to give you some examples on how the school can improve on these developments and also talk about some of the concerns. The first thing I would like to talk about is growth and development. And there's a definite growth spur from ages 11 to 15. The first thing to grow are your extremities. So your hands, your feet, your nose, your ears. And the students will also see an increase in their height, their weight, their heart size, their lung capacity, and even muscular growth. Girls actually begin this around 12 years old, and boys don't start until they're around 15 years old. And also, the body contour begins to change. Women may start seeing curves created on their body around their waist, and men may start having to see some muscle definition on their arms and their legs. During this stage, there is a process called body ossification that begins. This is also known as body formation. This is a process in which new bones are produced. The bones are actually growing faster than the muscles, so the students feel pain in their arms and their legs. And usually it's not completely hardened until 12 to 13 years of age. So it's common for students to have fractures or breaks. One research found that 66% of all fractures during growth occurs in children and adolescents. Students need to intake the correct amount of calcium to increase that bone density in order to successfully achieve rapid growth. Um, Studies also show that adolescents need 1,300 milligrams of calcium every day. So that means they need to have between 4 and 5 glasses of milk to achieve that 1,300 milligram level. One way to encourage growth and development is to encourage students to drink more milk or dairy products. There is one program available that does that, and it's called Fuel Up to Play 60. It's an in-school nutritional and physical activity program that is nationwide. encourages students to increase their level of dairy consumption, either through yogurt or cheese or milk, and also encourages them to exercise daily. There's health curriculum available to the health and PE teachers who start this program, and there's even grant monies available to get the program started. Up to $4,000 is available. The next thing I would like to talk about is sexual maturation, and students usually begin puberty during this time. Students begin puberty as early as 10 and sometimes start as late as 15. Female students usually menarche before male students can ejaculate. Some of the sexual characteristics develop. Females start to develop the breast bud and pubic hair begins. Men start seeing growth in their sexual organs, their voices begin to change, and body hair begins to form. Another issue during sexual maturation is the fluctuation of the hormones in the students' bodies. This can have an indirect influence on their teaching sleeping schedules. The National Sleep Foundation recommends 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night for young adolescents. Reports find that only 15% of adolescents are getting 8.5 hours of sleep every night. And sometimes the melatonin that helps you fall asleep does not get produced in young adolescents until 1 a.m. Inadequate sleep can affect a student's ability to learn, listen, concentrate, and solve problems in the classroom. One way to help with the sleep schedule is to change the time school starts. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends school start no later than 8:30 a.m. A University of Minnesota study demonstrates the impact of the pushback of school times. They found improvements in attendance and enrollment rates, increased daytime alertness, and decreased student-reported depression. Another issue during sexual maturation is the puberty discussion, and the discussion can be awkward for students and even teachers teaching the lesson. A report found out that 94% of teachers surveyed their students, and they said they are very likely to use Google or another search engine to find anything for typical research assignments. But is there a new way for students to learn about puberty? One way to talk about puberty is through an app. There is an app called Real Talk, and it answers questions about puberty and relations in conversational formats. It was developed by Princeton University graduates, and they're now high school teachers. Christina has a degree in human biology and is now a third-year doctoral student. Liz has a degree in anthropology and global health, and Vicky is an MBA candidate at Yale. And Liz says it has become clear that sex education wasn't something students, teachers, and parents felt comfortable talking about. Another issue with middle school students is the perception of physical self. Young adolescents are very concerned with their appearance. Self-perception of adolescents change due to their rate of maturation. Early maturing boys have very good self-esteem. Adults treat early maturing boys in more mature ways than other young adolescents, but they have poor self-esteem when they become adults because they realize that everyone else has caught up to them and they're not as good as that they thought they were. Early maturing girls have very poor self-esteem. They feel that they may have bigger feet or body parts compared to their other adolescent friends. On-time maturing boys and on-time maturing girls have average self-esteem. They have typical and average self-esteem as an adult. Late maturing boys have very poor self esteem. They detest going to the locker room and the changing room for PE because they feel that their body parts or their bodies aren't up to their friends. And late maturing girls don't have the greatest self esteem either, but once they become an adult, the self esteem is average. Popular media and culture only portrays the perfect adolescent. They see these models that are light skinned, slim, pretty, and fashionable. The number one issue with self esteem is body image. Girls see on average 200 unrealistic girl advertisements every day. 81% of girls under the age of 10 are afraid to look fat, and young adolescents are more fearful of gaining weight than receiving cancer.
Here are 5 ways to promote a healthy body image for boys. Number 1. Talk about health. Focus on eating right and staying physically active rather than on muscular physiques. Remind kids that there is no one right body type. Number 2. Do a reality check. Whether it's a music video, a magazine cover, or a friend's social media post, ask how much styling or Photoshop is involved. Number 3. Question the bottom line. Most of the buff images seen on TV, in video games, or on billboards are created by advertisers who want to sell a product. Number 4. Celebrate wins. Praise his efforts, skills, and accomplishments and share stories of men who are famous for their achievements, not their muscles. Number 5. Set an example. Ban fat talk in your home and model healthy habits and behavior. For more tips, visit us at commonsense.org.
One way to improve self-esteem is to allow more time in the curriculum for building positive student self-concept. There are hundreds of free resources available online. Research shows that group-based self-esteem enhancement programs improve student self-esteem as they transition from grade school to middle school. Let's move on to at-risk behaviors. Young adolescents need to receive adequate amounts of vitamins and minerals for proper body growth. However, eating disorders may get in the way of the proper body growth. One eating behavior is anorexia nervosa, and that's where students believe they're fat and grossly overfed. But they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. They think everyone thinks this way. These issues affect men and women. 1 in 4 men are diagnosed with an eating disorder. Another eating disorder is bulimia nervosa, and that is where the students eat the body and then purge it later. Typically, this is where the students have a lot of binge eating problems. Also, with bulimia, compared to anorexia, more students are also diagnosed with depression. Another at-risk behavior that many people don't think about is obesity, and actually obesity has dramatically grown over the past 40 years. In 1970, 1 out of 15 middle schoolers had obesity. In 2017, 1 in 5 middle schoolers has obesity. Here are some ways schools can prevent at-risk behaviors. Schools should provide an environment that promotes and models healthy behaviors as well as healthy body image. There's some curriculum available that promotes healthy flexibility eating and size acceptance. One book is Healthy Bodies, Teaching Kids What They Need to Know by Kathy Cater. She discourages dieting as well as counting on calories. Another way schools can improve is updating policies that relate to teasing, bullying, or harassment based on weight or appearance. Thank you again for allowing me to speak here at the meeting tonight. I provided some time at the end of my PowerPoint to allow some questions, so this is an opportunity for you to ask me any questions about the information I provided with you this evening.